You're listening to Overflow from Riverside Church.
What's going on, Overflowers? Are you Overflowers?
Overflowers.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Overflowers.
Overflow.
Flow Nation.
Flow Nation.
Flow
Nation.
Flow free.
Floridas.
Flow Riders. I can see the merch now.
I'm glad you're here today. Be ready. There's no telling where this podcast is going to go. We are wrapping up our Joseph Meant for Good series. So all is welcome in this conversation. We have no idea. We may ask a random question. Just so you know, we don't really prepare for this. This is literally just from the overflow of our study and our teaching and all of the things in between.
I think longtime listeners know.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you don't have to explain.
You don't think they thought it was scripted? That's true.
There's
right.
no teleprompter.
While you were on
think-
Turkish Airlines. You're right. They know. They for sure know. And so this is Overflow, where we dive a little bit deeper into all the things that we've done throughout the Sunday morning message, but then even stuff that's going on in the life of the church. And we're at the last week 9 of our Joseph Meant for Good series. We've walked through Genesis 37 through 50. With the exception of 38, and covered some of those a little more in depth, covered some of those together. And so we'll talk about wrapping up this weekend and then really just throw it out there. I mean, there's going to be a lot of random questions, I feel. Josh, do you have any random questions that you would like to ask?
I've got one. It's locked and loaded.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are prepared for it.
I don't know if he's
gotta
ready.
get our
He's
minds right.
like, he's got one. Here's the thing. We try to catch each other. So Josh now has got this question that he's researched.
Yeah, I feel strongly about it.
So he feels strongly about it. And then he's got me.
Are you ready?
Go for it.
Was Joseph a mummy?
He was embalmed.
He was embalmed.
As was Jacob.
Above ground coffin for 400 years.
Now remember also that they move his bones. Right?
Yeah, 400 years, dude.
Yeah, dude.
400 years later, they move his bones from one place to another.
Could you imagine? Is there like someone in charge of this? Is it like, hey, you? By
Who
the way,
watches the tomb?
Your generation,
Or the
you're in
coffin?
charge of this generation's watching of Joseph's bones.
Maybe.
Yeah. Are
Because
they the
it literally is.
original-
It's 400 years until the Exodus, till they
Yeah.
go, and when they do, they take Joseph's bones with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like how did they carry this on, man? Like it had to go from generation before it gets to Moses, which
He
is
was just in a sarcophagus, though. It wouldn't take much work, right?
true.
He's just
But
sitting
like,
there.
don't
You
forget.
think they had a guard?
don't forget
Yeah.
Joe.
Don't forget Joe.
Don't
That's
forget Joey
important.
from the pit.
Like, brother, when they're
Yeah.
leaving, like,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, they're chasing us. Red Sea's parting.
Yeah.
Hey, did anybody get Joey?
Yeah.
Who's Joey? Joey from the pit,
Who's
man.
carrying Joey?
Joey from
the
the pit.
whole way?
Right.
Wait,
like,
have
Dude,
we-
I've never thought of that.
Have we visited anyone's bones 400 years old? Or
I
have we
mean,
seen them
Probably
traveling
not.
around?
Oh.
weren't there bones in Greece?
Oh,
In the-
yeah.
Which,
Philip II.
yeah, Philip II.
We saw.
His bones.
Yeah.
He was old,
He was very old.
very old.
All right. Also, verse 26, Joseph died at the age of 110. They
Yeah.
embalmed him
They
and placed
embalmed
him
him.
in a coffin in Egypt.
Yeah.
That's got to mean he's a mummy.
I mean, he's in Egypt.
He's a mummy.
Are all
Did he get his own
Egyptians-
pyramid?
Bro,
I don't think he's
Probably
that.
not. He's not that important.
No.
That'd have been cool. That can you imagine?
But
I mean, is
will
he-
Brendan Fraser face him in the next installment of the Mummy
think-
franchise?
dude.
Great roller coaster ride at
This
Universal.
this could be. We have something here.
Yeah.
Do we
Was
know any
Joseph a
writers that
mummy?
want to write a gospel-centered message with Brendan Fraser on Mummy? What is it? 5, 6,
Oh,
7,
it's
8, 9
at this point.
now.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
There's a lot of them.
That's a good call. It is. I really did this week. I was like, okay, it's roughly, I forget the exact time, but 350-ish years until Moses is born. Then Moses lives roughly 100
Yep.
before they're coming out. How old was he when they left Egypt?
I want to say he was 40s or 50s, right? Moses?
No. He was like 40 when
Yeah,
he
he
went.
was older.
After
When he went.
killed.
That's right. That's right.
It's an old fella.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And he married
And so
Jethro's daughter.
he goes and does that. So I mean, like we're really talking a long time before the parting of the Red Sea, and people are yelling, "Don't
Yeah.
forget Joey from the pit."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a scene.
The mummy.
Who got Joe?
They, they loot the Egyptians. Like God tells them to go and ask their neighbors for gold, and they do it. And
Yep.
so they like not only sneak out with all the Israelites, but they also
Right.
get a bunch of money from
Right.
them.
They do.
So they had like wagons of treasure, I would imagine. And then they also had
Yeah.
to load up Joseph. Did they take Jacob as well?
Well, Jacob's already there, right?
He dies in
Oh,
Egypt.
Because but they take him back.
But when do they take him back?
I think they take him back to bury
Before?
him.
Just for a burial
Maybe.
trip?
Because it's a 40. There's a 40-day.
Yeah, go and bury your father.
Yeah.
Even with your oath. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
he-
is- that's in the first part of 50.
Yeah.
So they do that in the first part of 50. So Joey's 90 something at this point.
Yeah.
No, he's in his 60s.
He's 60s, yeah.
When they do that. I mean, so Moses was about 80 years old when the Red Sea parted.
Okay.
Okay.
So
He's an older fella.
I mean, he is. So like over 400 years, Joey's mummification
Thank you.
is sitting in a coffin. What do you think, Adam? Is he mummied?
I think he's mummied. I mean, how else can his bones preserve like that?
Yeah,
You know?
400 years.
That's a long
They got to
time.
do something with it.
Right.
If it was just in a box, they'd be gone.
Yeah.
Probably.
Be a box of dust.
Wild.
Or was he cremated?
Oh, gosh.
There you go.
I mean, do we really know in what form is it his bones? Do we know if it's fully formed bones? We
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It just says
We
take my
don't know.
bones.
It does. And
Dust
they do
could
it.
be bones.
They do it.
Dust in a
Says
box.
It says embalmed.
I know it does say embalmed.
That's what gets me right there.
That is crazy.
Mhm.
I feel like in Egypt at that time would have had to mean he was.
That's crazy.
Mummied.
So 200 years, roughly 200 years between Joseph's death and Moses'
Mhm.
birth. And so then another 100 years. So that's why it's around 380, roughly. 360,
When he gets back
360 to 380, somewhere roughly around 350 to 400 years.
Yeah.
People, that's how many generations is that is talking about Joseph's bones before
Yep.
they take it back?
And then it crosses the Red Sea.
Correct.
Crosses the Jordan.
Yeah.
That's
Hangs
wild.
out at Sinai,
Yeah.
wandering around in the wilderness.
Correct.
Like as if this wilderness wasn't hard enough.
Yeah.
Now
Right,
they're
they're
carting around
carrying-
a
Yeah.
1,000-pound
They're like,
sarcophagus.
dude, really? Come on, man. And
Yeah.
this is the guy that led us here anyways. He
Yeah.
basically enslaved our people,
Oh.
right?
So this also begs the question, since we know that like Egyptian mummies were like maintained really well, the sarcophaguses are serious. We can see them in like a museum and stuff. There's one over at the Denver
Yeah.
Nature Science Museum, whatever. Could we possibly find Joseph's bones somewhere? Is this the next
Cave of the
Is
Patriarchs.
this the next find?
Yeah,
The
like
next big
National Treasure
discovery?
movie
Maybe.
or something. not our nation, but
Not our,
whatever
World
Israel's
treasure.
version is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. So where does it end up? Do we
you know,
know?
that's a good question. I mean, he doesn't go to the Cave of the Patriarchs, does he? No, he doesn't go there. I mean, he just makes some promise, like carry my bones up from here. Even, I mean, like in my message this week, I talked about Exodus 13:19. That's where
Yep.
we see it, where he says, you know,
Yep.
Moses took the bones of Joseph with him.
He's buried in Shechem.
Yeah,
Shechem.
and then and it's in Joshua. I put this in my message as well too. Joshua 24:32
Yep.
is where they
Mhm.
bury him. It says Joseph's bones, which the Israelites have brought up. Oh yeah, there you go. From Egypt, were buried at Shechem, in the parcel of land Jacob had purchased for the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of silver. So he's probably back in that same area, and so. Let's see. It says today there's a traditional site known as Joseph's Tomb near Nablus, associated with the biblical Shechem. But we can't establish the archaeological finds that are actually there. But yeah, that's crazy.
So we've got an idea. Let's hone it in and let's find those bones.
You know,
Let's
that's
find
what
those
you.
bones.
You're
Let's
all in.
find
You're all
those
in on finding the
bones.
bones.
People
Come
are
on.
looking for the bones.
They're looking for the bones.
Here's what's crazy, right? So like when it comes to stuff like this, like we have some level of detail and description that is so descriptive that we can point to where they are. Then, you know, you have like Dead Sea Scrolls where a dude's throwing a rock in a cave, hits a
Yeah.
clay jar, and you go in there and you find these Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's wild.
Like randomly, and I think it's just God's
Yeah.
divine timing on what he wants to reveal when he wants to reveal it.
Right.
Yeah.
The reality is, if he wants Joseph's bones to be revealed one
We'll
day,
find 'em.
he could do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Just like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Like,
That's
I mean,
right.
they're writing these things, they're hiding them because they're afraid of them being taken.
Yeah.
The Dead Sea Scrolls. And this is the 50s, dude.
Yeah,
like
man.
the 1950s. It's the 1900s for all of you millennials out there. Back in the day, I was born in the 1900s, went to college in the 1900s.
We do
And,
just default to say
yeah.
the 50s.
Wow. That is
In
wild.
fact, before this conversation, I might have said back in the 20s.
Yeah, right. But now
That
it's,
could be now.
Yeah, when I say
That
back
could
in
be
the
now,
50s,
yeah.
I'm like, dang. And anyway, so I mean, like God's revealing what he wants to reveal at the time
Yeah.
that he wants to reveal it so that he can receive all the honor
Yeah,
and glory.
that's
Well,
right.
and he knows we love a mystery.
Yeah.
You know, like the world's
Man.
fun like that.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of cool? Like
yeah.
a little nugget from God that he's like, I made you
fun.
to like
It's
quest
reassuring.
and want a mystery, and now I'm going to keep giving you mysteries.
Yeah.
Also,
There's
I
still more to be
pretty good.
found.
I said
Oh,
this,
yeah.
I said this in last week's message, but like, brother, if you can't find the Bible interesting, I don't know
Oh,
what you're
yeah.
reading.
Yep.
Like when you
wild.
read this stuff, you're like, okay, so you've got a couple of things. This week is all about, before we dive into any nuance from a ton of chapters before. You've got this. It's so wild how Joseph's brothers, dad dies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they lie. We don't know. We never see that Jacob said that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that
did he really? Probably not.
It's kind of like prophetic future as Jacob was.
Yeah.
I feel like if he was going to say that, like we maybe would have had recollection of it, but I don't know. So my view is that the brothers are like, crap, what do we do?
Yeah.
They don't have a history of having good, just
Dad, you remember Dad?
overall
Dad, you
great
loved
character.
Dad.
They don't
Here's
have
what he
yeah,
said.
they don't have great character, before this in a great way, in a highly exalted type of way. So I'm going to just assume they lied. So they lie about Jacob. But what's funny is Adam and I were talking about earlier, literally the name of Manasseh, Joseph's firstborn, is the name Manasseh means God has made me forget all my hardships of my father's family.
Yep.
And the brothers are like, hey man, Dad said be kind to us,
It's almost like, dude, don't remind him.
And I was like,
What are you doing?
yeah. And by the way, I talked about this in my message. There's years of Joseph providing,
Right.
like showing his love for them,
Yep.
like provision for them. Like it's not like this happened bang bang.
No.
There's literally 17 years that Jacob spends with Joseph, and his brothers are with him in his provision and his kindness and his compassion and his mercy. And after 17 years, they still don't think Joseph's like okay.
Yeah.
And the reality is, sometimes the guilt we have is greater than the grace that we know that we can receive from Christ.
Yep.
And that's the problem, is that I think I put more guilt on myself than the grace that I want to receive from the Lord. And so a lot of my messages start walking through that because I think I even made a note that like sometimes we carry guilt of something we've wronged someone with after that person has long forgiven us of that sin.
That's right.
And we're still carrying it with us.
Yep.
And that's what we see here, right? So you have this aspect of that. Let's just chat about that. Like, why do we carry guilt the way that we do? There's always a but.
Yeah, right.
But you don't know.
Yeah.
But you don't understand. But you don't know where I've been. But you don't know what I've done. But you don't know what I'm thinking. You don't know these things. But God's grace is sufficient. Like God's grace is so much greater than that. But we still don't live in that. We know that. We believe that. But we don't live in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I think a driving factor of it is fear. We talk a lot about fear on Sunday, and fear is just kind of like that yeah but mentality. Yeah, but like I know it says that God forgives everything that we ever do if we come to Him, but like does He really know what I did? Is it really like am I really redeemed in this? I know they all are. We compare ours. We compare what we know we've done deep down in our hearts with what we don't even know what other people have fully done,
Yeah.
and we think, man, how could I fully be forgiven in this? And then I just think fear takes over a lot. And fear doesn't let us look into the future and see God forgiving us and leading out in faith. I think fear takes matters into our own hands. That's what the brothers are doing here. Like they're trying to take matters into their own hands because they're fearful of what Joseph might do now that Dad's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas faith leaves matters in God's hands. I just think fear is such a driving factor. And I think it's a tool that the enemy obviously uses and plays on our fear and our inadequacies, our guilt, all those kind of things. So I think I can't remember where I heard this, but I loved it. A few weeks ago, even I saw this, and they said, man, the difference between faith and fear is what do you see when you look into the future? Do you see God's faithfulness in your life, or do you see your own and what you're trying to control and what you're trying to bring it? That's the difference between faith and fear. Is when we look to the future, what do we see?
Yeah.
Do you believe that your past is fully forgiven, and can you step into the future or not?
And like part of that, even what you just said is, I believe that I have so much control over what I've done that my fear is driven because if I have control of what I've done, then I have control of what I can't do.
Right.
And so I'm driven by fear because I think I own everything.
Exactly.
And I don't look at God's sovereignty. In anything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I think justice and probably getting what we deserve is the default nature of the world, right?
Yeah.
So like gravity exists.
That's true.
A circle is round, and you get what you deserve. I
What
mean,
goes
Yeah.
up must come down.
yeah, I mean, I think God built the world that way, and it's how God operates too. And I think it's what
Sure.
makes grace a little bit hard for us to understand, even conceptually, right? Like it's a little bit difficult for us to reconcile in our minds that God is simultaneously fully just and simultaneously gracious to us.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they negate each other. And I think in some ways, the way that I'm picturing it now, comparing it to gravity, is almost like grace is miraculous to us. Because like what should happen when you drop a ball is that it should go to the ground, right?
Yeah.
And gravity should just hold it down. But sometimes gravity is upended, or maybe a miracle would allow gravity to stop. And so I think that's how grace is. And so in our brains, it's like we revert back to that animal side of our brain that's just sort of like, no, well, what happens is in the world, I've lived long enough to know that you get what you deserve. If you've done something wrong, one day it's going to be found out. It's going to come back to bite you. And so we carry that guilt with us. It's just so impossible for us to wrap our minds around the fact that someone could break that immutable law of justice, basically, I think.
Yep. That's really good. It's
I mean,
the default.
The justice-oriented world, and even now, right? So, I mean, this is thousands of years ago with Joseph's brothers. But I think that, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that culture and context. I know about the culture and context. So I always hesitate to say, more than ever, we do this. But we really do live in this you get what you deserve world, this karma mindset.
Yeah.
Good input will be good output, type of deal.
Oh, yeah.
And it's why everyone is frustrated by injustice,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter your worldview and where you're coming from or what you believe about anything. Injustice irks us. And
Yeah.
I think that's just hardwired into us as human beings.
Yeah.
So then when we are sort of asking for injustice to be done on our behalf, which is
Yeah.
what grace essentially is, like it's not right.
Yeah.
And sure, injustice we associate with harming someone else, but like essentially like we're asking for justice not to be worked out on us. We can't wrap our minds around the fact that it would work.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, you're right. It's like, you could deep dive that all day long, right? And injustice is such a weird word in our culture and in our world, because follower of Christ or not, we don't get what we deserve.
Yeah.
I mean, the greatest injustice is the fact that Jesus took our place on the cross.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that's the greatest injustice.
I said last week, it's the best trade for us. It's the worst trade for him.
dude.
Like
And-
legitimately.
and yet we scream and cry
Yeah.
of injustice in so many ways.
That's right.
And many that scream and cry for the injustices don't have a relationship with Christ to know the ultimate injustice.
Yeah.
And or in a culture that we live in Denver, mock that injustice.
That's right.
And belief in that. It's a weird, like,
Yeah, man.
when you really try to pinpoint some of the things, it's like, this is a wild world we live in.
Yeah.
Which then it ultimately just goes back to like, I mean, it's Joseph here, right? You've got to point back to God's sovereignty. I don't know why an injustice does happen and why God allows an injustice to happen. There are injustices that happen all the time. There are people that die that shouldn't die. In terms of like getting shot by someone else, in cold blood or whatever. Like that is an injustice, right? I'm not talking about like, oh, they deserved it, because that could be debated until people are blue in the face. Nobody deserves to die.
That's right.
But the reality is people could debate that, right? Oh, well, they did this, and that's where this word becomes weird, is because outside of like the laws of man and mankind and government and everything else, how do you debate who deserves what, and how do you look at
It's a never-ending circle
How do you
with
look at
you.
cultures of past, and everything else, and even some cultures today that have different systems and ecosystems set up for injustices, right?
Sure.
And then you go into it and you're like, man, I just have to understand that God is sovereign, He is in control, and what some people mean for evil, He meant for good.
Yeah.
I was talking before we started the podcast. That's the thing we talked about this weekend. Dude, Joseph didn't say, "Oh, it's okay, dude. We'll make right of this. Oh, it's okay. Like, yeah, I mean, you didn't understand. You didn't.
It's
know."
all good.
He didn't say anything like that. It's
Yeah.
all. Let's dab it up. We're fine. We're good. We're boys. He actually says, "No, bro, you meant it for evil." But the good thing is I don't serve you. I don't follow you. I follow a God who meant it for good.
Yep.
And so God takes the evil and injustice of the world and turns it for good.
That's right. Yeah.
Ultimately pointing to Christ, taking the evil of the whole world and pointing it to good through the death of Jesus. It's a wild thing to walk through, but it's like, that's the only way I can explain some of the things that happen to people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some tragedies, some hardships, some diagnoses, some losses, all of these things is go, I don't know what to tell you right now. The only thing I can tell you right now is you have to ask, what is God wanting to do in, with, and through you because of this?
That's good.
And I think that's the ultimate thing is like, we just have to go, whatever it is we're walking through, whatever injustice, whatever evil, whatever anything is there, we have to ask ourselves, what is God wanting to do through this for his good, right? For his glory, and for our good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to nerd out for a second.
Please.
Let's go.
This was my like nerd. This is my mummification nerd out. And it goes back to nerdification. He said like nerd, like we nerd out.
Just because I like mummies?
We nerd out.
Nerdification over mummification.
So,
Liking mummies is
admittedly
nerdy.
This goes back to Shechem, and I didn't dive too much into this week. I didn't dive into it in the message at all, but I kind of wrote a note and then was trying to flesh it out. So there's a connection in the Joseph story that we miss. So we just talked about his bones, right? Genesis ends obviously saying, don't leave me in Egypt. When God brings you back to the land, take my bones with you. Moses does, then Joshua does in 24 and tells us eventually where to bury Joseph's bones, which is in Shechem, on land.
Really early in the project, by the way.
100%.
I mean, Joshua's still conquering the promised land.
Right.
First, first boots on the ground.
Yeah.
By the way, we got to bury these
We got to bury
bones.
Joe.
Don't forget.
You remember these bones we've been carrying?
Yeah, because
two
that's
generations?
probably
because
why.
it's been at this point it's like 500 years. He's like, I
yeah.
want to get rid of this.
Right. Sorry. Go.
And so it's on, but he does it on land that Jacob had purchased.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward more than 1,000 years to John 4.
Okay.
John tells us that Jesus comes to a town in Samaria near, listening to his wording, the property that Jacob had given his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, right?
Yep.
So you've got Jacob, you've got Joseph, you've got Shechem, and now Jesus.
Yeah.
With the Samaritan woman is dropping John. I saw it put like this. John is dropping hyperlinks everywhere. I'm like, dude, that's funny. That's like a good word.
Yeah. It's like a Wikipedia.
citing
page.
his sources.
A
right there.
Samaritan woman comes to the well and asks Jesus, "Are you greater than our father Jacob?"
And buried over there.
Yeah, and the answer is yes.
Yep. Yes, I am.
Jacob gave you this well. Jesus gives you living water. But and then here's the crazy thing. So last week we talked about Ephraim.
Yep.
And then how he basically represented the northern kingdom. Ephraim becomes so dominant that his name is shorthand for the northern kingdom, right?
Yep.
Which you know what that includes? The Samaritan territory.
Yep.
So you have Jacob, Joseph, Ephraim, northern kingdom, Samaria, Jesus. And so you have centuries of this family history, this division, this rebellion, and obviously hostility that accumulated here. And then Jesus walks straight in and offers this Samaritan woman living water. She goes back, tells everybody, Samaritans start believing. And then in Acts 1, it says what? You'll be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea,
in Samaria,
and to the ends of the earth. Acts 8, the gospel explodes. Where? Samaria. So Joseph could never see any of that when this is going on. He just trusted God with his bones.
That's wild.
Jesus comes and says, connecting it all.
Awesome. So like I was doing a little deep dive on that and it was chatting some of that and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, like these, because the Jacob's well thing was the piece for me. Like I was just like, hang on. I didn't know, I wasn't processing or putting, two and two together with all that, but it was like, okay, Jacob's well, this, that, and the other.
So I think it's also fascinating when you put them all together like that. I mean, he literally is looking at what may have at that point been the center of Israel, right? I mean, this is Jacob's bones.
Yeah.
This is Jacob's well. And he's saying this water has sustained our people for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And water is good, but it was meant to point you to me. Like the fact that you even were able to drink this water is built to show you that you should trust in me and I'll give you living water.
Yeah.
In the same way that Israel was showing you God. It was bringing you to God. It gave you everything to come to God.
Yeah.
And now here I am present right in front of you.
It's wild. And what's crazy too is like, you're talking about the center of Israel. I mean, don't forget, this is the field Abraham purchased from Ephraim the Hittite as burial property. Abraham and his wife Sarah are buried there. Isaac and his wife Rebecca are buried there. And I buried Leah there, is what Jacob's done with before, right? So I mean, like it is wild.
There.
It
All
is
the
wild
patriarchs
here in this area.
It's their family graveyard.
It's there. Yeah.
It's like, it's
crazy.
But to your point, and then the crazy thing in all of it is Jesus came through the line of Judah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
All of that happens. Jesus is there, it'd be very easy to be like, yeah, my line.
Yeah.
But no, he's like, no. My ancestor slept with his daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's who I come from.
It's going to be
Yeah.
tough to shake Judah's memory from our collective minds after this Joseph thing,
really
honestly.
is.
Like every time you just go back into Jesus' lineage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even
man.
in like the beginning of Matthew, like the startling things are like the prostitutes
Yeah,
and the people
right.
who are outside the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Like
Rahab.
goes
Yeah.
all the way back to Judah.
Yep. Nuts.
Yeah.
He might have
Anyways.
one of the worst family histories
100%.
of a human being. At
Yeah.
the time.
100%.
Saw
Okay,
my brother, slept with my daughter-in-law. That's
So you were talking about Joseph being a mummy. So here's my question.
Okay.
This is going back. We didn't really talk about this at all. I mean, he really, I mean, like if you're just viewing this, he married an Egyptian woman.
Mm-hmm.
He's got two
Egyptian sons.
Egyptian blooded
Yeah.
sons.
Mm-hmm.
He's embalmed,
Mhm.
which clearly is more of an Egyptian thing.
Yep.
He dies at the age of 110 years, which in Egyptian literature is the ideal length of a human life.
Whoa.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Come on.
So like,
Isn't that weird?
why did this person who was staying so faithful seemingly adopt a culture
Mhm.
that was outside
Yeah.
of his ancestral heritage?
That's interesting.
And I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would
I mean,
you, what would you say to somebody that says, oh yeah, I mean, well, like he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he shaves, he does these things,
Right.
and everything else. He
think-
clearly,
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I would be curious about like the timeline, the biblical timeline here, because we don't get a full list. And this has always fascinated me. We don't get a full list of what God wants from us until mid-Exodus.
Yeah. That's true.
Right,
The
like Exodus
law
20,
and-
we get the
right.
10 Commandments, we get
Yep.
the Shema, we get all of the like Levitical rules and festivals and sacrifices and what's a sin and what's not a sin. And so like what kind of like distinctives culturally in the ways that they worshiped God would Abraham and Moses have shared?
Sure.
And thus Joseph right here in between the two.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's a good point.
So was this wrong of Joseph to be an Egyptian? I mean,
Well,
we don't
yeah.
get that from the text, right?
No.
But it
And-
would,
No.
if it was post Exodus, it would be wrong,
100%.
right?
Okay, so answer your
Yeah,
thoughts.
sorry.
Yeah.
No. I think that's exactly. I mean, I think you're right on.
Yeah, we're not
But
there
I'm
yet
gonna,
with the
I'm gonna
law
add
and-
one layer to it.
Yeah,
Not there with the law.
I think too, and it's it's similar like a Daniel thriving in Babylon. Like, hey, I'm gonna go do these things, but I'm not gonna lose my convictions on serving the one true God in this. Joseph's obviously doing that, and it kind of points, I think, to Jesus coming for both the Jew and the Gentile a little bit too. I think it's for this God is ultimately, as we know, for all people to come to Him.
Yeah.
So there's probably some of that it's pointing to. Would be
So-
my answer to that, but
I mean, I think that's it. Like,
Yeah.
I think both of those are it. He never spiritually compromised.
no,
Yeah.
no.
So it's like, when I lived in Tennessee, I had to wear a suit and tie every Sunday to church. Wild.
Might as well have been Egyptian,
We
you know?
we were in, I mean, Memphis. It's
You were?
yeah. It's
Whoa.
yeah. There's a
Whoa.
pyramid. There's
Bass
a pyramid
Pro
there. That's a
pyramid?
Bass Pro.
Wow.
So like,
So good.
we had a thing called No Tie July. And I made a reference one time to one of my leaders. I said, if we have to tell our people that it's No Tie July, we have a problem. Like if we have to explain that I'm not wearing a tie right now because it's
okay.
7,000
You're
degrees
going to be
outside.
okay.
So the reality is I sold Ben Mandrell, one of my favorite people in the world, for saying this. I was getting ready to move out here, and Ben was pastor at Storyline, who's now the pastor of the church I left in Tennessee when God called us here. And he said, hey, he texted me. He was like, hey, I would sell every suit you have before you move here because no one here will buy any of those suits
one
because
wants
they
them.
don't wear them.
That's
And I
hilarious.
thought,
Good.
dude, you're right. But I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I don't wear suits anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm not I haven't spiritually compromised
Yeah,
anything,
right.
And so I think the reality is like, yes, we don't have the law in the same time. It was
Right.
handed on to generations at this time, right? Like
Yeah.
he is going on the traditions of his fathers at this point, staying faithful to what he knew to stay faithful
Yep.
to, worshiping the Yahweh, worshiping God. I mean, I guess even at this point, Yahweh has not been exposed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
just
so
God of his
the
fathers.
God of
Yeah.
his fathers,
Right.
right? And so his father, my shepherd, all these types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't compromise anything. I think it's okay for you to look like the culture, but
Sure.
not be compromised by the culture.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
And I think we don't know where to draw the line.
Yeah.
So why do our people draw the line? I mean, it's wise to probably not. I mean, we definitely don't need to look like the culture in areas we don't want to look like the culture that are going to compromise us. But I think that's the problem is we get too close to that line, and then all of a sudden we're compromised. If that makes sense, And I'll never forget. I had a person that I love and really respect. They came out of like not like a abuse type of culture, like a substance abuse type of culture, but like they used some stuff in college. They definitely stained their testimony, did these types of things. They lived in another part of the country. They moved out here, and during the time here, they became ingrained with a bunch of neighbors and all these things that did a whole lot of stuff that they used to do in college and don't do anymore as followers of Christ. And this person fell one night because she was around them so much and wanted to lead them into deep relationships with Jesus. Like the intent of it was really, really good, but she ended up becoming compromised because it was just trying to look so much like the culture and be around the culture that there was a compromise. And so how do you tell people like that fine line? Like, how do you help people go, hey, it's okay to do this with purpose and with intent, but there's a line at some point where you become compromised and you're not living the way that God wants us to live.
Yeah, I think it's tricky. I mean, obviously it's like we see Jesus do it time and time and time again, but man, we're not Jesus. And so we've got to rely on his spirit, obviously, to allow us to be the influencer and not the influencee, I suppose. But I think it's just I don't know. It's a great question, and it's probably convictional based on. I mean, it's what even Paul says. Like, hey, I don't struggle with certain things in this area, but some people might, and so you got to decide. Like, is this a struggle that I know I'm going to fall into, or is this a way that I can be the light, in this situation? I think it just depends on that, right? If you have a past of struggling with alcoholism, probably want to like honor the Lord well first off, and then honor even your friends around you that might be drinking that night. And be like, man, I'll catch up. I'll go play golf with you tomorrow, or like I'll see you next time, right? I think it just depends on those scenarios of making sure we're the influencer in that instance and not influencee.
Yeah, I think two things. I think it has to, and this, I guess it cuts both ways more, I should say, that like you have got to be convicted on what is sin and what is not sin.
Sure.
And I think you've got to know clearly what that is, right? So like if everybody who does this certain sin wears a backwards baseball cap, like it would not be sin for you to also wear a backwards baseball cap.
Yeah,
right? I mean, I know that's kind of like a stupid thing, but like I think sometimes we get caught up, and that's where it cuts both ways. So first, strong convictions on what is sin. And so like for you, if drinking is going to lead you to alcoholism and you've been an alcoholic, then starting a ministry in a bar is probably not a good idea for you, right? Like I had this teacher in college that always used to say, or in seminary that said, like, if your head's made out of butter, don't sit so close to the fire.
Yeah.
Like there's a guarding of yourself there. And then I think the other side is true too, that we need to be able to name things that are cultural and call them neutral, right? So Joseph being shaved and wearing Egyptian dress and turning into a mummy, cultural.
Sure.
Didn't hurt his witness one
Yeah.
bit.
Right.
It put him in a place actually where he could tell a lot of people about God. I was thinking about this. Like every time that like something bad happens to him, he gets a chance to stand up in front of everybody, sometimes Pharaoh himself, and be like, God
gave me the dream.
God's doing
interpretation.
this. Like how crazy is that? It made me think
He's
of
honoring,
this in First
Like if he'd have
Corinthians.
looked like a shepherd, he wouldn't have even been welcomed in that area.
No,
not at all.
So it's like
no, I'm
they wouldn't
keeping
even
my
eat
beard.
with Israelites.
Right. I'm like, sorry.
That's like
this is Pharaoh's presence.
In some circles here, if I'm suit and tie every day to come and share the gospel with someone, nobody's listening just because of that. It's not the culture in Denver, Colorado.
That's good.
Yeah.
I thought about this from Paul in 1 Corinthians. Although I am free from all and not anyone's slave, I have made myself a slave to everyone in order to win more people. Which, by the way, as we talk about this, a lot of people like even hear this verse of sort of like, I want to wear the backwards baseball cap because it's cool. Paul's like, I'm going to be a slave to everyone.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to wear the backwards baseball cap even if I hate it because I want to do this for other people.
That's not the cool thing to do to be a slave.
Right. He says to the Jews, I become like a Jew.
Yep.
To those under the law, I become like those under the law. To those who are weak, I become weak in order to win them. I have become all things to all people so that I might by every possible means save some. Now I do all of this because of the gospel so that I may share in the blessings.
Yeah.
Joseph was doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's
How
good,
cool
man.
is that?
That's so good.
Like clearly doing
Right.
it because God had done so much in his
Yeah.
life. Like he could not stop talking about God no matter how many
Yeah.
terrible things happened
Right.
to
Yeah,
him.
to your point too, Daniel
Right.
did the same thing.
100%.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Stay
and it's
praying.
like, man, God will never call you to do something that is not honoring to him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that's the key here too. It's
Yeah.
like, man, that right there from Paul shows like, hey, all of these things are honoring to the Lord. And,
Yeah.
and so like he will never cause you to walk into something to not honor him.
And the wild
Yeah.
thing here too, right, is like because of all this, Joseph saves Egypt,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but at the
Right.
same time centralizes Pharaoh's power.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes his people go through harsh times for a long
it's
time.
like it's still. I'm telling you, like in the beginning of our team teaching prep
Yeah.
with this series, it's this notion of something being really wise and life saving,
Mm-hmm.
while also creating vulnerabilities for everybody else,
Mm.
and that happened by God's plan.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just answer that question, Jonah. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Oh.
it's the fact that Moses is writing this,
Yeah.
knowing all that Joseph did and how he saved Egypt, while also centralizing the governmental system that ended up taking him through some of the greatest hardships of his life.
Yeah.
But also, so like, and this is like ultimately the answer, right? Even though Moses goes through some of the greatest hardships of his life, he sees God's glory on display
That's right.
Yeah.
because of those hardships.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like Moses could say the same thing at the end of Exodus.
Mhm.
What you meant for evil, God meant for good.
Yeah.
I saw the seed part.
Yeah.
I was able to take our people
Yeah.
out of here. We were able to then go.
But also,
Yeah.
I killed a guy. Also, I fled from my town. Also, I was thrown into a basket when I was a baby. Like,
Yeah.
I was abandoned.
I mean,
Yeah.
these early stories, I think because they are
I mean, because
so,
the Hebrew boys were killed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
these early stories are so ancient that we get these like
Yeah.
bizarrely truncated versions of them. It's all just so short. They're like, and
Yeah.
they threw him in a pit. And you're like, I want to know more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like they're
Yeah.
not written like modern stories
Yeah.
in some ways, but like the
And
theme,
Moses was in a basket because the
Yeah.
other male Hebrew
'Cause all of his
kids
brothers and cousins
were being
were dead.
murdered.
Yeah.
And then I think like we can't wrap our minds around just how terrible it was. And it seems like if you had to pick one theme of these first two books of the Bible, of all of the main characters, is that they suffered so greatly and
Yeah.
God used it for his glory.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they remained faithful in the midst of it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yep.
Not
Yeah,
perfect.
that's why they're the heroes.
Not
Yeah.
perfect.
They're heroes
but
because they're faithful.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why Joseph's mentioned in Hebrews 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Hebrews 13, Hebrews 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11.
And that's why he's mentioned there is because he remained faithful. Not
Yeah.
perfect. Moses was not perfect, but he remained faithful.
Yeah, man.
I mean, like, golly.
Well, and it reminds us that like there's nothing wasted in what God is doing.
Yeah.
There's no hardship wasted. There's no victory wasted.
Hmm.
And he's writing this whole thing. It was God who sent Joseph ahead. It
Yeah.
was God who planned for another Pharaoh to come in after the one that knew Joseph and be
Yeah.
hard towards the Israelites. I continued on in reading some of Exodus this past week, even after this. And I love this in Exodus 6 because it shows all the things that God does for us and the one thing he asks us to do.
Yeah.
It's in the statements where he keeps saying, I will. He says, I will bring you out from forced labor. I will take you as my people. I will be your God. I will bring you to the land that I swore. The only thing he tells Moses here, the things that we are to do, he says this, you will know that I am the Lord your God. That's like, bro, that's all we are to really like do and trust wholeheartedly. If we take care of that and we know that he is the Lord our God, that he's going to lead us, he's going to handle the rest as
Yeah.
we can faithfully trust in that. That's the one thing he says. He says like 20 I wills, and the one you will is you will know that I'm your God,
like
and you need to know me
We think
and
of
trust
the
me.
covenant as like a contract or something. Like
Yeah.
we have a far too light side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like carrying the light side of the couch, and God's
Yeah.
like walking backwards.
Let me do it.
carrying the heavy side
Yeah, dude.
up the stairs.
Is he on
you
the
know?
Friends episode? Does he
Exactly.
get
that's
it?
Yeah.
Like, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
and even like I think it's verse 20. Hang on. I think I didn't talk about this in the message this week, but I could have done a whole sermon on just the way Joseph says this.
yeah.
Verse 19, but Joseph said to them, don't be afraid.
Mm.
Am I in the place of God?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hmm.
Am I in the place of God? Like, you ever wanted vengeance to be yours?
That's taking the place of God.
that's taking the place of God.
Stealing from him.
It's
Something that's his, yeah.
legitimately
Wow.
stealing from him.
Wow.
Like it's his divine seat of
Yeah.
vengeance, and we often take it.
Yeah.
And like judgment belongs to God. And the reality is, when we can truly trust in God's providence, we don't have to be in the seat of God.
That's right.
We don't have to be in his place.
That's right.
That's good.
We don't need to.
Yeah.
We don't have to want to.
Yeah.
Or any of those things. I mean, like literally, and honestly, like it's not just even in vengeance. Like, couldn't he have been like, oh, I was thrown into a pit. Well, am I in the place of God? This is just his story.
Yep.
Oh, I was sold into slavery. Well, I mean, this is just his story. He could have said that statement over and over and over again. Well, I'm not in the place of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I in the place of God? His life, my life is his.
Yeah.
Like, am I in the place of God? And over and over again. Like I almost wonder if like Joseph is like echoing this to himself while he's in all of his
Probably
hardships
has
and
to.
everything. Like, okay,
Probably has
well,
to.
am I in the place
It
of God?
become his
Yeah.
mantra.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like legitimately. Like he's
Yeah.
probably got that tattooed on his arm, like forearm written.
Yeah,
in, like,
am I in the
Hebrew.
Remember
It's
this.
Like, yeah, dude, it's in Hebrew. It looks awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's got
and you know, read from
It's probably in
right
hieroglyphs.
to left.
Right to left.
Yeah, probably in hieroglyphics.
Because he
yeah.
is
Yeah.
culturally
Yeah.
being all things to all people.
Jeez,
Not
yeah.
when he's in
Come
the
on.
pit in the prison.
Right, think about
but,
that.
Right.
Yeah, dude, and it's like,
Yeah.
so yeah. Okay, so your takeaway, big question,
Oof.
takeaway or just overarching thought of Joseph and the story of Joseph?
Oh man.
I was scared you were going to say that,
Oh man.
which is why Adam has to go first.
Just any big
yeah.
takeaway. Like what are you going to do differently in your life having preached through this the last 9
Yeah,
weeks?
man, that's good. I think the main theme that we're even talking through this week and that I want to echo in my life from these last 13 chapters, God takes every part of our story and uses it for good. Not just some parts, not just the good parts, not just the bad parts. Every single thing that is in our story, God takes and uses it for good. And I just think I'm as I look to the past of what God has done, how can I trust Him with the future? How can I have that attitude of, am I in the place of God? The answer is no. Like, this is His story. The gospel, as much as we want to believe it is all about us and Jesus came for us and and that's true. He came to seek and save that was lost. That is who we are, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about Him.
Mhm.
And so the more that I can
Yeah.
remind myself and live my life, Jesus came to die for me. If it would have just been me, He still would have done it. That is so true. But it's not Jesus coming to align Himself with my life so that I can know Him. It's me coming to align myself with Jesus' story and His message
That's
and
good.
how I get to be a part of that. And that's actually a great thing. It's
Yeah.
amazing that it's not all about me and it's all about Him, because I'm a part of a redemptive plan that He has, not just for me, but for His whole
Yeah.
kingdom. And so, yeah, I think that'll be kind of the challenge for myself, even, is being a part of this story. What a blessing it is to be a part of that, because it is all about Him. And golly, dude, you go back to the John 4s, you go back to all that. It's this whole thing is just,
It's a good
He
book.
connects all of it, and it all points to Him.
It's a good
So,
collection of books.
It is. It is. It's all about Him.
It's amazing. We had a pastor at Bellevue one time, and we were sitting in a meeting. He was like, "It's such a good book."
It's just
It was like,
good, man.
and he
Yeah.
said it like it was the first time he ever
He
realized,
just realized
that. And we
it.
never let him forget that. It's like, it's a good book.
That's awesome.
Constantly surprising.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It
It
really
really,
is.
is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
what about you, Josh?
I think I got 3. 2 of them hopefully are short and insignificant in some ways. I think the Judah and Tamar story is still one that I'm going to chew on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah was actually reading, who's the Redeeming Love lady? Francine
Oh,
Rivers
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, yeah.
She did like a Tamar story, which I think I might like dive into from her perspective, obviously. And it's fascinating and dark and twisted and just bonkers,
Yeah.
and also biblical, and
Yeah.
telling us something about the line of Jesus. And so I'm going to
Yeah.
carry that with me for a little while. The other weird thing that I think I've had some trouble shaking is the dreams. Like, the modern idea that like dreams are something where your brain just sort of lets off some steam at night and they're a result of bad burritos and whatever.
There's no there's no deja vu.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we've learned. This is my biggest
true.
takeaway from the whole 9
Anti-deja vu.
weeks. Is there's
Anti-deja
Josh's
vu.
anti-deja vu.
Maybe I'm refuting that right now. That idea, that way of looking at dreams that I've traditionally had, is not a biblical way of looking at dreams. And so I'm kind of curious. I also read a book and it kind of tied in a lot with this. I'm gonna try keep a dream journal.
Yeah,
and
man.
Just sort of see what happens. I don't know. Do either of you guys do that?
No, but I should.
No, I don't remember mine as
Me
much.
neither.
Libby,
I don't
either.
You
Libby
gotta
remembers
write 'em
hers.
immediately when you
Libby
wake up.
remembers hers all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I do think it's that. I just forget about them.
I read something about dreams and it even tied into Joseph and everything. And then that night I had a dream.
Whoa.
And I woke up the next day and I tried to remember it. And then of course forgot it progressively through the day.
Yeah.
But it made me realize that I probably am having dreams all the time
Yeah.
and just forgetting them
Oh,
because
yeah.
I don't care to write them down.
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
that was
So
weird.
It is truly deja vu that he has. He just
Ooh,
doesn't know because he can't remember.
maybe it is.
The last and most important thing I think is just that God is just so present in our suffering, and I think there's just no way. I've spent so much of my life trying to refine and have a biblical worldview of suffering, and it's very difficult, and it feels like a constant journey, and I'm constantly pushing this sort of idea back. And the cultural ideas, or maybe just the selfish ideas that I have, is that suffering shows that God is unsatisfied with me. Not true,
Yeah,
according to
that's right.
Joseph.
That's
Also,
right.
according to the rest of the Bible.
Yeah. Suffering is something that I shouldn't have to go through because God likes me.
Yeah.
Not true.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Suffering is something that is just sort of an inconvenience or something that's stopping me from doing what I believe God has for me to do. Not true, according to Joseph.
Yeah.
And so that moment when I can have a really great day and be praise God, thank you for that great day. That was wonderful. God, I'm glad that you are here guiding every single one of my steps. And then the next day have an absolutely awful day and be able to say, thank you, God, praise you, for you have ordered every one of my steps according to your plan. That's when I know that I get to this place of maturity like Joseph, and I'm not there yet.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah. How about you, Chris?
I think this is a little bit. I think it's true. I mentioned this weekend, and I have used the phrase over and over again that God's past faithfulness is an indicator of our current faithfulness from Him and future faithfulness for us. And so we need to rely on that. I've actually told a lot of our young adults, whether it be on the team or just young adults in the church, a ton. It always seems easier. I'm 45. Libby's 42. And we can walk along and it seems like we're more okay with some things, but most of the 25-year-olds I'm talking to didn't know us when we were 25. The reality is I have 20 plus years of God's faithfulness showing up in my life. And I think for me, what I walk through in this is just the journey that God leads us on. I don't know that at 25, Joseph would have responded to his brothers in the same way he did at 56.
That's good.
Yeah.
And he might have had vengeance. But the fact is, for his entire life, for 40 years, basically, to that point, after dad dies and everything else, he had seen God's faithfulness over and over and over and over again. I need to do a better job of keeping a gratitude journal and a God's faithfulness journal. That was probably it for me, just to go, where are the times that I was in a bad spot, however big or small, seemingly insignificant or large, that God's faithfulness just showed up time and time again, right? I mean, Josh, the journey of church planting and moving to a city where you don't know anybody and raising funds, and every single person I met and that gave, I didn't take that as God's faithfulness the way I needed to, but it was God's provision, and all of those types of things. Even now to this day, those people that, continually come every week in spite of who I am as a leader and communicator and everything else, and the insufficiencies that we have as a church family, people showing up is a sign of God's faithfulness. And so it was really just I see, because we talked about this with Joseph in the beginning, that his biggest thing was probably that he was probably not that humble in the beginning. It was probably a little naive, but then you look at him as this grown man and the humility. And I think it's because of him seeing God's faithfulness time and time again. Yeah. And he didn't equate God's faithfulness with his circumstance. And so I think that's the other piece for me, is that too often in the Americanized dream world that we live in, we equate God's faithfulness with my bank account, my job, my relationships, or my current state of life.
Yeah.
And that is not a sign of God's faithfulness. The very fact that you are breathing and alive and have Jesus Christ, who died on a cross for you that you are undeserving of, is a sign of God's faithfulness. And so, and Joseph did this without knowing Jesus.
Yeah.
We know the story. Like we know God's faithfulness in our own lives, but we also have thousands of years of God's faithfulness pointing to the person and work of Jesus Christ that we just forget about.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it really is just like that culmination of, up, down, good, bad, everything in between. God is so faithful. And my definition of faithful needs to change.
Yeah.
And so I think that's for me, like just walking through that.
I like what you just did there. You gave like a positive description of aging even.
Yeah.
Aging is such a like looming figure in our society. And even for
That's
me,
good.
I'm like, oh, I hate getting old. And like, you just gave the reason why getting older is like
That's
such a
really
blessing.
good, man.
I mean, like Josh, you're how old, Josh?
38.
For the audience. And the reality is when we lead some of our interns and people that come in, and then even our young adults, I get it. I do sometimes feel bad because I'm like, hey, just like trust God's faithfulness, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then like, this is probably 6-8 months ago. For the first time I recognized, oh, I have 20 more years of understanding God's faithfulness
Yeah.
through my experiences in my life than you do. This is very easy for me to just tell you to trust in God's faithfulness.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I could go back now to my 25-year-old self, I wish I could begin journaling God's faithfulness over and over and over again, so that when that does creep up in my mind, oh, I'm not where I want to be, or oh, I don't have the career I wanted, or oh, I don't have the relationship that I want, but hey, do you remember how faithful God is? So if he was faithful then, and he is faithful now, he is going to be faithful tomorrow. Just remember that. And so if I could encourage anybody at any age, particularly young adults here, start journaling God's faithfulness. And because it is, and I said this weekend, Josh, I'll pull up my manuscript real quick. At the very we talk about Riverside being multicultural, multi-generational a lot. And this is one of the benefits. You asked it in Next Steps last week. And that was one of the things that a lot of us said, was that one of the things we love about Riverside is because the multi-generational nature that we have.
Yep.
I said it this way, the people in the room, they have something that the younger people do not. Decades of receipts. They've buried people. They've lost jobs. They've raised children. They've watched plans fall apart. They've walked through diagnoses, and they've had prayers answered differently than what they wanted to, and they're still there. And it's just so much time that God has proven himself faithful over and over and over again. And we just forget that, man. We are just looking for this Americanized dream world culture. And it's just like, dude, I have a family. I have a home. I have a deep relationship with the Lord. I have a wife that I adore. I love nothing more than going on walks with her, with dogs I don't even really like, because I'm not an animal guy.
Oh, we each have our suffering.
Yeah, we each
Just
have our
like
suffering.
Joseph.
Joseph
That's
at the pit. I've
You
got
feel
2
it.
dogs, 2 golden doodles.
feel it.
Yeah. How much more stereotyped can I be living in Central Park with 2 golden doodles,
Yeah.
wearing vineyard vines?
It's your own pit.
It is. It's my own pit. And the reality is like, dude, that is a sign and a show of God's grace and love for me and his faithfulness to my life. And I take that for granted? I'm always saying, I started off the message talking about how I am the worst person about viewing the past, because I can tell you everything I didn't do the way I wanted it to be done before I can celebrate anything that God's done. And I think as I get older, I like to stop and smell the roses a little bit more. And the roses being God's faithfulness. Not like what I'm doing, but God's faithfulness. So,
good.
Yeah, so that's for me. Okay, well, that's it for Joseph. Where are we heading next?
Wow.
It's Vision Weekend. It's Vision Weekend and then
Okay,
Surf
yeah,
Sunday.
that's right,
It's
that's
Vision
right.
Weekend and Surf
Vision
Sunday.
Weekend. Our guy Pete.
Our guy Pete.
We're going from Joe
to Pete.
Joey from the pit, Pete from.
Crete.
From,
I don't know.
We got to figure
He's
it
not from
out.
Crete, but
First Peter,
it'd be
man.
awesome
Cannot
if he
wait.
Petey from Crete.
Cannot wait.
He's not.
He from Crete. That would be cool.
You know, over in
Old
give
Pete,
me
man.
Okay, for the pod, for the long time
Ooh,
listeners.
go on.
Your favorite thing about Greece and Turkey? Just one thing.
I lived through Josh for the
I
last
can't do just
2.5
one thing.
weeks.
I'll pick one random thing and then later pick something else. I like eating dinner really late and taking a long time and
Yeah.
sitting on a patio and watching strange people.
They got it right with that, dude.
I didn't realize that like Crete and the Greek islands is like Europe's, Panama City.
Yeah.
Like they're all just like, it's cheap for them to fly
Yeah.
down there. It's
Yeah,
probably more
100%.
like Europe's Bahamas or something.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
like it's cheap to fly down there. They all
Yeah.
go relax and stuff. And so I'm like watching somebody from Croatia eating next to me.
And isn't it
Yeah.
wild how the culture is just so laid back
So it's
compared to
the-
like
so
America?
chill. So chill.
Where it's like we have to
They
have
got that
dinner
one
on the
figured out.
table at whatever time,
Now-
so the kids can go to bed at this time, and so blah blah blah
yeah,
blah blah blah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I love it.
Stop.
But open the coffee shops a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
9 a.m. and the coffee shops
Yeah,
are just
get
I'm
cracking,
like,
man. I need that thing. Where's the Starbucks?
Yeah,
at
we were
5
knocking
a.m.?
down the doors because
Yeah.
we're trying to cram a bunch of stuff in, you know?
Right.
So
Also,
I felt
just-
bad.
That's
I've
the only
never been
thing.
at the coffee shop when they're opening.
Just
That ain't
crazy,
that's not
dude.
my vibe.
Yeah.
Also,
Wild.
just do better with coffee.
Yeah, but that's other than that, I love it.
I found some third wave shops.
You did.
They're out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But they're
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Greek coffee is trash.
Absolutely.
It's just
Yeah,
in.
sorry, all
You
you
heard it here
Greeks,
first.
but instant
Well, we
coffee,
are-
we
It
can do
ain't
better
it.
than
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Come on.
it's-
We're globalized now.
When the
That's
best,
right.
When
Yeah.
the best part of your coffee is the instant in my hotel room.
Gross.
Not it.
Not it. Not it.
Gross.
I did.
Yeah.
So okay. That's it for the overflow. That's it for Joey from the pit.
Joey from the pit.
Farewell, Joe.
We'll be talking vision. We'll be
Yeah.
talking Surf Sunday,
Come on.
and then we'll be diving into old Petey.
Our guy Pete.
Yeah.
Petey Pablo. I'm just kidding.
Excited.
That is
Wow.
There it is.
take your shirt off.
Oh, man.
We're out.
Honestly,
Cut,
we gotta
cut
cut
the pod,
Bye.
Nathaniel.
Till next time. See you soon, church.